Steve Rosenberg of the Globe came up and visited classes, and he particularly spent time in a 6-7 classroom where Soan Boothroyd, our Director of Arts, Collaboration Integration, and Chris Kent, 6-7 teacher, working on a project about self and identity, and students had developed poems about their own self-identity, and then they were translating those into 3-dimensional artwork, and so really exciting project. Grades 4 or 5 were actually had taken passages from Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, which was the book that all of the students read before school started, and they were invited to pick a chapter and then write an original script for that, and then they were performing those today in their classes. So kind of a neat way of deepening their understanding and engagement with the material. And then you've seen our creature outside, which is probably not going to become the school mascot, but great event, really. They started that a couple of weeks ago, developing sort of individual pieces of art, and then those were brought together to create this Pegasus of some sort up there.
Kind of symbolic. We spent so much time dealing with red tape that now we're dealing with blue. Step up.
I like that. That's great. But so it's been exciting, great fun to see them working out.
Thank you.
Tommy, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm just curious what staff have been doing on Wednesday afternoons. What sort of activities they've been working on?
Well, again, sort of discussions, a lot of them, I have to say, for the first couple of weeks were very much nuts and bolts about, particularly, we're now starting after these several weeks to have a sense of the students as individual learners, and not just in terms of their interaction with material and in a different learning environment, but what motivates them. They're all very different, as you can imagine. And so a lot of discussions have centered around bringing up each student and talking about what are we learning, and particularly in 6-7 where they're moving from teacher to teacher and for the different subjects, that kind of sharing of information is important, because you'll find that the students actually performing differently and reacting differently in one environment, and some of that may be the material. So not all students are in love with every subject, but it can also have to do with the pedagogical approach of the teacher, and so a lot of sharing around that. And then really beginning this discussion around assessments and how do we remain on track in terms of those dates with regard to MCAS at the end of the year and then late spring, and what needs to be covered in terms of just material and skills development there, and at the same time continue to honor and respect a educational environment where left and right brain learners, traditional and visual learners are all being sort of encouraged and respected and moved to succeed. And the other thing is having discussions about just the diversity of learners. You've got students who are very much at grade level, and you've got students who are behind in terms of that, and you've got students who are way ahead, and they're all in one classroom. And the differentiating of the instruction has actually been a key part of what we're trying to do there. And how do you do that successfully, and really sharing ideas around what we're doing, again, with each and every student in that environment. And so they're being busy. If anything, we found that our time is, we tend to go a lot longer. Yeah. So, we actually end at 12:45 on that day, but those meetings are often going well past 4:30, 5 o'clock. just to get enough time to talk to each other. So they're great. It's great to have them.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go through the commissioners list at this point. And I'm going to suggest to, I kind of like the ritual of going through every one, but there's something we can clearly cross off and not revisit again. So I'm going to suggest that we're at that phase, we graduated, and we can cross them off. The list of number 1 and 2 are really directed for our legal counsel, and a letter was sent on October 15th. And Joe, do you want to say anything about that letter?
Yeah, where are you?
I'm
You're going down the motion.
I list down the list of motions, it's just the way I am as the learner that I am.
Oh, okay, so.
But if you look on the commissioners list, October 15th, you will see.
Well, so October, so going on the commissioners list, the first page after the minutes,
Yes.
titled commissioners list.
There was a letter due on October 15th, which has been sent, regarding issues raised by the Inspector General.
Oh,
And
That
as you
letter?
don't see it on this list, but it is number 2 on our list.
and it, okay.
Yeah, on October 15th.
Can I,
Always have
so,
addressed issues with IG's office.
but it's going off of this list?
Yes, it's October 15th.
Right, no, I understand that, but
Oh.
October 5th is done.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so we have to go off that list, okay.
Only because I can't find the other list.
I know.
Is the other list an old list that you brought out, just for
It's the
purposes?
list I always
It's the
keep.
letter.
It's the list that I always keep that just has. That's fine, I will adjust. Okay.
Oh, yes, no, I got that. Same thing.
Yes, we met everything for October 5th.
Yeah,
Tony, correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
As well as October 7th,
yeah,
as well as October 8th.
which looks the same as October 5th.
Except we have
Those
all
are the
legal
due
communications due.
Got it. Okay.
And then October 15th, which is kind of where we're at now,
Which was done Friday.
right,
And that was the letter to the Inspector General. The Sims report I saw,
Yeah.
Right.
so that's done.
the updated budget and the cash flow was approved
We
at
did
the
last
board
week.
meeting, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And the Foley Hoag did send a letter to the Inspector General's office. It's hard to characterize without sounding, well, the heck with that. They sent a letter to the Inspector General basically saying the school has not done anything with modulars because it was the landlord whose responsibility it has been to deal with the modular company. And in fact, technically, legally, I think that that's essentially correct. I think that communication went in 3 different ways to the Inspector General. And the last time I saw it, I will confess, I commented that maybe this time it would be understood. It's a very simple message. I think that's the only letter for the only communication, the only issue that was to be addressed with the Inspector General. The other one, I think, had to do with the facility and how that all came about and who did what at what point. And I think that communication went before the 15th.
Yeah, and I mean, the letters, I think there were more than one, they were
They
pretty
went,
clear.
in other words.
Yeah, and they were pretty clear and they made sense.
Yeah.
So we can cross off the 15th. We are having our board meeting today on the 18th. And we were doing this. October 19th, supplies and services contracting.
Yeah, and that's just, I left it on there as a reminder that at least that's the one workshop that you have to have the prerequisite course of public contracting overview. So I will still have to either go myself or send my designee to that workshop in the new year, which is the next time it's offered. But the first workshop is the public contracting overview and our training, and that'll be on November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And I'm registered for all of the rest of the workshops on the various dates as listed on the sheet, but that'll be the first one, November 2nd.
And the commissioner's office understands the scheduling
They do.
reality.
Yeah, in fact, it was actually the IG's office that notified everyone as well that, you know, you cannot take supplies and service contracting without taking the prerequisite.
And that happens.
And that happened, next time it's offered is in the new year, so.
So-
I will take the first course, which is public contracting overview on November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Okay, so the 19th, 20th, and 21st is moot?
It's moved
Okay.
until the new year, but it's still something that that I have to take or send someone to in the year in order to fully meet those requirements.
Okay, so do we remain on probation until you take that course?
It's a good question.
That's a very good question.
Can you find the answer out for
Sure.
next time? It's a good question. Okay.
Well, you can always raise the question the day after. As long as no one says anything.
So,
Okay, let's not.
okay, let's move on. November 2nd is a board training day, so at this time I'm going to speak about that. We have Sasha Elks coming at 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock, and she will be doing, I'm going to get the exact language here for you, David. This is why I like this list better, Tony, because it doesn't have the fact that we have to do this board training on here else.
You're right.
Because there's things like that that doesn't have a due date.